Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another exciting episode of Is It Wrong Podcast with your host, me, Rey Parra. Make sure to hit the like button, make sure to subscribe and share. Add all your comments. We love the comments. Every time we have a special guest, there's different comments. We have a conversation. We have a great time, guys. Remember to get our merch. We got some cool t-shirts, some cool mechanic shirts, some hats, some buttons, some mugs, all kinds of real good stuff. But just stay tuned for today's guest. It's going to be a great one.
Scientists time without answers in this crucible while the forge is burning. We bring down the hell and creates a new doctrine. Two becomes one rule.
Hey guys, welcome back to another exciting episode of Is It Wrong? My special guest tonight, Harpazo, featuring their album The Crucible, which is on Rock Shock Records. How you guys doing tonight?
What's going on?
How you doing, man?
Good. Everybody's good.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hey, we're all on the same page.
Yeah, dude, you got a voice like a singer. You should be a singer, DC.
Every once in a while I think about it.
Yeah, nah, don't do
Yeah.
it. Anyways, hey, so I've really been looking forward to this tonight. I'm a huge fan of concept records and stuff, and I don't know about you guys, but to me, when I listen to this record, The Crucible, I get the sense of like a Trans-Siberian Orchestra feel. Do you guys get that at all or no?
No.
No? This means yes, and this means no.
We had that conversation in the studio, and Gary was like, lights and show and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, but I did like TSO a lot, but that actually wasn't the original thought behind it. So it's funny that it came out that way, but originally that was not that's something that kind of grew on me, the TSO part into the album. I was more of I actually didn't know about TSO that much. I knew Sabotage.
Huh?
So
of course, yeah.
Sabotage fan. And then I heard I was putting on that Dead Winter Dead album with that Sarajevo song, and wife goes, "That's TSO," and I'm like, "Who's TSO?" Like, living under a rock completely, you know?
Yeah.
And I found out it's the same guys that just found a way to market it way better.
Well,
so,
yeah. You know what's neat about that is my wife and I, when I got the record, when you sent it to me, we popped it in my truck and we listened to it all the way to church. Just heard the whole thing. You know, it takes you through this roller coaster ride of emotions, right? And you're listening to it and you're like, wow, this is so great. And I asked my wife when it was over, it finished right when we pulled into church. I said, babe, would you play this record again? She goes, babe, not only would I play it again, she goes, I would go watch this show. I said, it's not a show. It's an album. And she's like, it just reminds me of TSO. She goes, while we're listening to it, she's like, I could visualize it. And I was like, that is pretty badass, you know, because dude, it's that powerful, man.
Nice.
It's that powerful.
And this is a wife talking, so you know it's pretty good when a wife says that.
Yeah, dude. I know. Usually, I'll write a song and I'll be like, "Hey, babe, what do you think?" She'll be like, "Yeah, it's good. It's good." You know. Hey, DC. I don't know if you know my background or not, but I'm a vocalist too. I'm the lead vocalist for. I think I'm in like 3 bands now. Sacred Warrior, Deny the Fallen, and what's the other one? No, Worldview. I had to do that because I like messing with George. But dude, your vocals, man, just like wow, just the emotion and everything, you know, really good stuff. But listen, I wanted to know really quick. First of all, with you, Mark, you and Gary, how'd you guys meet? I know you guys have been friends for a long time, right?
Yeah, he started off as my guitar teacher, actually. So
really.
Yeah, so basically I was came up with I became a Christian. I was listening to this one record by Avantasia, and I actually had Rob Rock on the song 7 Angels, and I did not know. I was a fan. My father was really into Christian metal and rock, and obviously all kinds of the Queensryche secular stuff too. And I heard the voice, you know, that the voice from melodic. So I heard, I'm like, oh my God, this is awesome. And so anyways, so I heard that, and I don't know, something started to hit me, a story. And I'm like, well, I guess we're going to get a guitar teacher if I'm ever going to write this story. Like, I got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
I found Gary on MySpace. He became
MySpace.
MySpace.
I still have my account.
Wow.
I use that.
I still check it every day.
No, you don't. Do you really? I don't even think that's a thing anymore, is it? I was going to say you're probably the only one on there now.
Now,
Literally MySpace, right?
listen, Gary's profile on MySpace, it wasn't just a profile. Like normal people write maybe a paragraph. Gary had like this long, and it kind of delved into, Jesus and all these other awesome topics about what he wants to do and how he wants to help people and what he loves to do. He really put it all out there, back in the day when it was like, you could just put it all out there and you weren't going to be judged for it. Right. So nowadays, I don't think anybody would do something like that. It's just because it's so much more rare to see. We don't need many, our bios on Facebook are like a sentence long, if that. So I read it. I'm like, that's really cool. And I was a fan of Shadow Gallery, huge fan of Tyranny, huge fan of DC Cooper as well. But you weren't in the mindset there yet. But I was just, man, if somebody could help me, this guy could. I mean, he's done it before.
Yeah.
He's an hour away from me. What? Get out of here. And I messaged him, and he had an opening for a guitar student. And that's kind of, I learned from him for a few years. And then I told him about the idea. And he goes, let's just write a song and let's see what it sounds like. Let's just make it part of your guitar lessons. And that's how. So, Gary, I don't know if there's anyone you add to that, but that's pretty much the gist of it, I think. But
well, I was going to ask Gary. So, Gary, when Mark approached you, you started teaching him to play guitar, and he came to you and said, "Hey, let's write a record." Are you going? Yeah, no. But were you, at this point, was he that good already that you said, "You know what? Let's do this," or what?
No, I mean, I encourage all students to have a project, and when he talked about someday wanting to do a concept album, my thought was, yeah, you could do it. Absolutely. Do you have any riffs? And start putting something together. Let's just see if we can one riff and turn that into one song and go from there. And then he started telling me, well, I've got this story, and it was already being developed, but it wasn't fleshed out like it is now in the final version. But that's great. That sounds like we can turn this into something. And so I was very, encouraging. And I mean, the only downside to the whole thing was I lost a cool, because the lessons turned into recording sessions eventually.
Yeah.
So how much time between when you started teaching Mark to where you guys started writing this project? What was the time between those?
About 2 or 3 years. It's kind of fuzzy. It's been so long. But
wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, 2 years.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool. And then when did the whole thing?
What year was that, Mark? Sorry to.
I couldn't tell you. Like 2009, 12 or something like that.
I think it was like 1980.
I lived in New Jersey at the time. I didn't have 2 kids. Like,
no, but Mark, you're still a young lad, man.
yeah.
Oh, he was 21, I think, when
I
this
was
started.
21 with this crazy idea. Absolutely.
No way.
Crazy idea.
Oh, that's awesome.
How old are you now, Mark?
38.
38.
Oh my
DC?
God.
Jesus.
How old are you, DC?
Gary, how old were you, Gary? Like 38 when I met you? Like, it was probably something
now,
like.
actually.
Oh,
Mark
yeah.
and I did the same thing for a while.
Oh, is that what you're going with, Gary?
That's what I'm going with now. I mean, I was 38 probably when we started this.
I think so.
I don't have no idea how old I am now, but I know that.
Can't count that high.
Young. And
How about you? How old are you, brother?
Just ask my wife. I'm still a kid, so.
Oh yeah. My wife tells me the same thing. If you ask me how many kids we have, I say 6. You ask my wife, she says 7.
Oh yeah. I've
But
always, always considered
Amen.
myself one of the kids. My sons don't think differently.
Yeah, you like one of their buddies.
I'm sorry. We were just. I think one of the things that I should mention that I never really put together is I was just coming off working with DC on this concept album from a band called Amaranth's Plight,
Yeah.
And that just came out like a year, two, what did it come out? 2007, I think, something like that. 2008, maybe.
Yeah.
We just came off of that project.
Wow.
Together.
And I was in
bought it.
Japan whenever Imran's Plight was released. So that would have been that was with Silent Force.
Mm-hmm. Great stuff, by the way.
95, 97. No, I'm thinking like earlier 2000s, like 2003, 2004.
I'm not going to disagree with you, even if you're wrong.
Yeah, I think
that
sounds right, because I think I bought this CD actually in your studio, and I bought it from you, and I loved it.
Wait, he sold you an Imran's Plight?
He did. I'm pretty sure he sold me one, or I bought it online after talking. It was one of the. I thought I got it from you. I can't remember. It's been so long, but I remember buying it. And I also, DC, little, just so you know this, my wife and I, we did an organized dance to "I Promise You," that love song on the album.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, you know, I forced her. I'm like, we're doing "I Promise You." I love this song, so she loves it too.
All right. So is DC responsible for your kids, or I mean, is he like Uncle DC now, or what?
A little bit of love songs in my voice.
Hey, is it wrong?
You know what? That song's been in like 5 weddings that I know of. At least. Yeah. You know what I mean? That people have told me about.
Yeah.
I
promise you there was the ballad from my solo album.
Oh my gosh, I forgot this. In my wallet is a quote from the song. My wife bought it for me. I promise you I will love, the whole line there. And that's actually in my wallet. I forgot about that.
Oh,
I'm glad you never told me this before. If you would told me this,
you were supposed to come to the wedding. You missed out on the dance. That's all I have to say. So it was an organized dance. So we actually did the whole thing, took lessons and all that to that song.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's way cool.
Yeah.
So, once you guys got this whole concept going in your head, you're like, yeah, we're going to do this, going to do that. So, Mark, was it your idea? Let's see who all we can get on this record.
I had a list long time ago. Before I even reached out to Gary, I had a list. So when he asked me to come in, I had like a binder ready to go. Opened up my binder. I'm like, all right, for this singer, the voice, and I had the story wasn't fleshed out yet. So I had like, Gary will make fun of me. It's like, this is going to be the character Jesus. This is going to be the character God or Satan, right? And I'm like, Gary's like, you're going to pick the voice of God. Good luck with that. Like, I'm like, yeah, that's probably a good point. So some of the ideas, again, weren't fully fleshed out yet. But yeah, I had a list for sure. And pretty sure you were on that list, both of you guys. So
yeah.
I probably could pull it out somewhere at some point. I might put it on Facebook, but the original list.
That would be cool to post that.
Yeah.
So then you just started reaching out to everybody. And I remember when I got the call, Les Carlson actually called me. We had just come back from a cruise.
It was the first one.
The week before that cruise, we had gone to go see TSO.
Wow.
We saw them, got on the cruise and left. And I told my wife, Mark, I said, that would be so cool to perform on a project like this or sing on it or something, and then I get back and Les calls me up. Hey, Ray, how you doing? I'm good, And he's like, you ever heard of, I was like, no, I've never heard of Harpazo. He goes, well, there's this new project coming out. He laid it all out for me. And he's like, they would like you to be a guest vocalist on there. I'm like, yeah, because Les and I have collaborated on a lot of stuff, Yeah. And I said, yeah. In fact, right now, him and I are working on something for Larry Dean's new record. And I said, yeah, we'll do it. And it seemed like that was like, I don't know, maybe, let's see, I'm 62 now. I think I was like 18 when he asked me. I don't know. It's been a while, Mark. But he asked me about it, and I'm like,
COVID, right? It was like 2020. It was right during COVID when I started asking everyone while they're home, hey, do you got anything to do? Like, and then I remember Gary was like trying to get people into the studio during COVID. I think DC, you went to the studio in I think 2020, right? Or 2021?
All I know is whenever you and I went to get Chinese, we had to like use pizza trays to get it off of them out the window.
For real.
I really just wanted to go to a bar, and I don't think we found one that was actually open unless you checked everything at the door, or it was really weird. It was strange.
Those were some strange times, right? So, DC, how did Mark get you involved? What made you decide to say, "Yeah, I'll do it"?
Not me, that guy up there.
Oh, Gary got it.
Yeah, anytime Gary gives me a call and says, "Hey, you got to check this out," I'm going to listen to the man. That's period. That's Gary and I. We've known each other for a long time, and we've worked on quite a few different things together, and we've worked on things that's just never even been released yet. So you never know what's going to happen down the road. And so anytime Gary says, "Hey, you got to check this out," so the only thing, and what's coming next, Gary, it's like he won't come to the freaking my cabin because we're going fishing for a couple days, and then I have this. Like kind of, I call it the grand room, but it's like the main entrance to the house, and it's a cathedral ceiling. It's just acoustically it's going to be phenomenal with a piano and a guitar and a microphone, and so I don't know what else to do to entice the man to come visit me, but I've been to his place like 15 times, and he's never been to
Gary.
Don't call me. Don't come by my house. We're done.
Hang on. I want to address that. I don't know what he's going to do to me there. He's like, just come for like 9 or 10 weeks. We'll hang out, just the two of us.
Come out to the coast. We'll get together, have a few laughs.
So I'm like, I'm kind of busy. I'm a little afraid. I don't know what he's got in mind. What's going on here?
9 or 10 weeks. Where is this cabin?
How long have you guys been married? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah.
I will get back to your question. I will say this. Mark and I did have a long list of singers, and immediately before we mentioned one name, I immediately just said, well, DC Cooper's got to be on this thing. Because he's my go-to, like not my go-to, not like we've done that.
Oh,
projects,
thank you.
But
Glad I ranked up there.
Because I know it's going to sound great. So I handled that. Mark had his list of people. I had my list. And we had pretty much made a list together of like who's realistic. So I was like, I'll call DC. Don't worry, we'll make this happen when the time's right. And thankfully he was available and
this stuff came out great. Yeah.
I think Les was the first one to say yes, by the way. So thankfully he called you too, because he said yes. He was so excited, and he has the smallest part on the album.
I know.
It's so funny because I was like, I should have wrote more. I didn't think about it. I was like, well, like I don't know how busy these guys are. I want these giant parts for everybody, and they say no to me. Then I'm stuck.
Yeah.
So little guest parts. And he had the smallest role, so I always felt bad about that. I still feel bad about it today. So
it was good timing for me because I had just finished up vocals on the new Deny the Fallen record, and I had been talking with George about doing the Worldview record, and I'm like, well, when you're finished with Human Code and all, it was like forever, but it was a perfect time for me. So I just recorded everything at home, and it worked out really good. But I was really excited when Les reached out to me about that. So how long would you guys say it took you to write the whole thing? When Gary, you said, man, everything on tape is good, I'm loving it, and Mark's like, yeah, I think we got everything in. How long do you think that process was?
A few moments later.
I'll say this: the actual writing.
Quick comeback, guy. First sharp with those questions.
Right.
Oh, I'm ready to speak. I'm just trying to. I try to count
Gary
before I talk.
Gary, in my podcast, you don't have to raise your hand. Just speak your heart, bro. Just go.
Take one hand, go a bunch of different stuff. Pointer, hatchet, schoolroom. Release the doves, give the Lord a high five, press it out. A lot of women like to wash the window. Wash the window.
The writing. No, DC. No. The writing. The writing, I thought, was very quick. It was very inspired. Mark would come in the studio. It was always like a Tuesday, and we'd only have an hour or two, and because it was his lesson time, and I had his lesson for an hour, and I had somebody after him, and I eventually moved him more time. But I'd be like, okay, what do we got? And he'd pull out some lyrics, and I'd look through, and I go, wait, that, let's make this a chorus. And my thing, I've said this before, is I'm always trying to get to the bottom line. What's the song about? And every time I ask somebody that, they go, well, they give me 1,000 words, and I say, no. Give me five words, 5 syllables. Give me 1 word, and let's go with
Sounds
that.
like.
So, I mean, that's just the producer jerking me. I'm like, let's not waste time. Let's get to the point. If we don't have a good chorus, we're not going to waste our time in the rest of the song. It'd be fun to sit here and come up with cool sounds and experiment. And here's a great riff, but no. Just let's write a chorus. And Marc had some great. He kind of solidified some of these ideas down, and he'd come in a little prepared every week, and or we'd work on it, and we'd be in the control room, and I would just grab the nearest guitar or whatever keyboard was set up, and the first thing that came to my head, I would sing. And honestly, that's mostly what ended up in the record. It was very, very quick. The recording took forever, but the writing was very quick.
There's a lot. We went through every detail. We had ideas for songs, structures. Sometimes we would just let the song kind of take its own. I think it's why a couple of the songs are pretty long. So it's like, that's a cool idea. Let's go to the next cool idea. Like, oh, that'd be cool. Put like a symphonic, like Mozart like part on this album, this part of the song. And sometimes we had like, we got to wrap it up, right? Like, so how are we gonna wrap this up? And we'd have like a couple ideas, and we would just bounce it off each other. And Gary's really good at just helping me, everything I would see that I wanted, helping me turn it into reality, and make it sound really good too.
Yeah. So as far as with making it a concept record, was that initially the thought, or is that just something that came into play? And
no, it was definitely. I'm a huge rock opera fan, so whether it was Queensryche's Mind Crime, obviously the first one, Pink Floyd, The Wall, Fantasia, Camelot has the Black Halo and Epica series. Arion, the Human Equation, you can't discount like all those incredible works. Shadow Gallery's Tyranny. There's so many great bands. Royal Hunt's put out like Dystopian. That's actually later on, but they've had a couple concept albums. So there's so many different ones, and that's solidified it for me, because I love a concept. I love the idea of you want to listen to the whole record. It's not just 12 songs. I want something that made me look forward to the story. And for me growing up, like that was, it was when I was going through a troubled childhood, teenage years, it would help me take myself kind of out of the world, to the story. And that would help me deal with a lot of things I was going through. And so I really became a fan of that style, because it allowed me just to escape, a little escapism, and that's why I just love the idea of having a rock opera.
Yeah, and DC, what about you? Like with Royal Hunt and Silent Force, I was listening to a lot of that stuff, and a lot of that has that rock opera feel. The way the emotion that you put into everything is that. So is that something you do intentionally, or is it when you're writing it into songs like that, or that's just the way it comes out? Or
as far as what the performance,
as far as the performance, as far as getting that feel in the performance.
I try to gather how do I put it? I try to gather the confidence of the person that I'm portraying, or the individual that I'm portraying, or the voice that I'm trying to get across. One of the ones that's been in my back career is Miss Mercuria. That was one of the only other ones that I saw really going live. Miss Mercuria. And this one, as soon as I had one, not even the full run through, I think I had tears rolling down my face, going like, "This needs to go live." Wow. I think actually, wait, we were on a live stream together too, And I that's the first words that come out of my mouth.
That's what you thought? I did not know. That's incredible.
Yeah, this should be live. I've always had. I guess a dream, or one of the things in my career that I've always wanted to do, is be on stage with like an orchestra or a live play, a live musical, and this is very fitting. I'm working on my spirituality, which people use that as a cop out towards saying I'm working on my Christianity. I'm just being honest with. I'm just being honest with it, because I'm sure me and Mark can sit down and we can have long discussions. There's just certain things that's taken place in my life over the past couple of years, actually, since I recorded these vocals. So, Gary and I were together on another podcast like last week where we were talking about off the Tyranny album, New World Order that hit its 25th anniversary not too long ago, and I'm honored to be part of stuff like that. That I'm on that short list. I like to hear that, but it's now it's definitely become a chosen. I have to pick and choose. I did have a run there for a while where I was doing just about anything. There's only one album out of my 49 that I've been on in my career. Hopefully, the 50th one will be my solo album.
Wow.
Yeah. That's all. Yeah, that's where my record is at.
Wow.
I've been keeping track here for a while. But to be part of something like this and then lead into the next chapter, I don't know what's going to take place after the 50th album, but all I know is just working with and I hate to call them projects because it's such a stigma.
I hear you.
Such a stigma. As soon as you say project or you say an opera, because everybody's trying to compare to, Queen. That is like your ultimate go-to to really make the big, the big mark, I guess.
Right.
You would call it, no pun intended. So yeah, I mean, being involved in these things over the years, it's just like you have to, and I still need to sit down and talk with Mark and have a long conversation to understand my character. But I hope and I think I did capture that character that is Michael. And it means a lot to me. But Gary keeps telling me that I don't think I understand the Archangel, so that's the stuff that I'm trying to step into, which is fine. It's kind of not joking about it, but it is funny in a way for me to say that kind of stuff. But I'm finding my way. It's a big badass world out there,
It is.
And if you find your rhythm in it somewhere, or you find your contribution. It's then you should follow up on it, if you haven't gotten there yet. I feel that I haven't reached there's something else in my life that I'm supposed to be doing, and I don't know what it is, and it drives me crazy sometimes. So all these personas that you take on over the years, who is the real DC? Who knows? Only God knows, basically. He knows my heart is better than I do. So. Okay. Sorry, that was a long
No, that was good. That was good.
I can see myself in you. Everything you're saying is the same thing I'm thinking right now about myself and about what's next for Harpazo. Is this it, Lord? Did I do enough? Did I work hard enough? Did I reach out to enough people?
You always second guess yourself as an individual, but you had the heart to drive. You had the heart to drive and the passion to make it reality. And I know if you contacted that guy up in the other corner of my screen, the Gary's, you made the right choice. I'm sure there was a lot of other ones out there, but you made a great choice. Okay.
I didn't have to make any choices. God made it for me. And at the end of the day, I put ideas out there, and it just kind of solidified itself into reality. And I have no idea, because I don't know how I got in charge of all of this, but somehow I did. So here I am.
Yeah, you're like, God, what? I don't know why you're trusting me with all this, but here I am. Take me. Here I am, Yeah. Hey, so what was the conversation between you two guys when you said, "Hey, let's do this concept record"? Was it, let's try to do something about this or something about that, or what was the conversation you guys had? Here's why I ask. So everybody knows how this record turned out, right? It turned out great. And love it, you know. But when you guys decided let's do this concept record, were you initially saying, Mark, did you go up to Gary and say, okay, you said I got these songs, and Gary said, hey, I think you should write these songs, yada yada. Did you guys out of that say, hey, maybe we should try doing a biblical character type concept record, or, you know, or maybe we should try this? Or how did that all come about? Was it just by chance that as you were writing the songs, the storyline came out of that?
Story.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Gary.
Mark wanted to write a biblical story about future and based, you know, roughly on the Book of Revelations and all that. So that was kind of the embryo of a lot of the songs, you know what I mean? So that was the easy part of saying, what direction do we want to go in? We weren't just aimlessly writing riffs and saying, I don't know, what should we write about? Should we write about love or a girlfriend? No, it was very focused in that sense from the beginning. It was just a matter of turning thoughts into songs and making sure that they were the best they could be. And you know, that was my job, is to make sure. And I've thought this all along, this has to be the best album I've ever made, ever. And I never let go of that thought, even when it looked like there's many times we thought we're not going to finish this. This is not going to happen. You know, we got delayed over and over. We started, and then I went before, and then he did something, and then and he moved, and then I had a situation. So it endlessly had challenges, and there was even a point, we haven't ever talked about this, where I don't know, maybe mid 2000s, where you were talking about maybe
19. I made the choice. I came back to you. I'm like, we're gonna finish this. We're doing it. And you're
so
like, right? Because we stopped.
That's not how I remember it. I remember it a little differently, my friend.
Okay, go ahead. I came to your house and you were up or down. Remember?
I'm not trying to take credit for this, but there was a point where it was kind of decided that maybe we're not going to finish this. There's not time. There's not money. He moved to Georgia. We're not near each other anymore. And he was saving for a wedding, and I was going through this, and I thought about it, and I sent you a very, very, very long email that's like a book. It said, here's I still have it. Valid points, but here's why we have to finish this. We have to finish this. It's too good. There's too much work into it, and it has to see the light of day. And I probably gave more words than anyone's given you in an email before.
But yeah, I remember I still had to pay a lot. I still had to figure out, how am I going to pay for this? All these things. And part of my journey before my wife and I got married in 2017 is we got on I can't not mention this because this is the reason why I got done. Is I was broke. I was a repo man in New Jersey. I was repossessing people's cars. Wow. Oh yeah, I was putting my life on the line, almost dying.
So how much do I get paid? $25 a car?
Paid? You don't get paid. You kidding? You work on commission. That's better than being paid.
Hold on.
What?
How tall are you? How much you weigh? What?
I was a repo man. I was pretty good at it too.
Did you ever repo a yellow Mustang with red T-tops on the bottom?
I've taken a friend's car. Listen, I have stories. Okay, so the crazy stuff that would happen to me out there. But one night, I felt like God saved me. I was in a situation, and I went up to this house. It was a dark night, and the car was blocked in, and I was just going to check the VIN or the license plate and leave. I wasn't going to get it that night. I was going to do my usual, check out 1 o'clock in the morning, come back later or something the next day. And I went to go check it, and the dude he came out of the basement and the door pounded on the ground. I was out there. My truck was parked around the block, so I guess he heard it or something. And he came out, and he couldn't speak really any English at all. But he was like, "What do you think you're doing here?" And I'm like, "Dude, I'm leaving. Okay, your car's out for repo. You might want to call your bank." But he would not stop coming at me. And next thing I knew, I had a knife in I never brought a knife with me on usually. But that night, I had too many close encounters. I'm like, I'm just going to bring a knife with me just in case. And I'm backing up, and he's coming at me. And he's shirt off, muscular guy, couldn't speak any English, just kept coming at me. I'm like, dude, calm down. I don't want any problems. I'm leaving.
We're totally weak. We can't possibly fight.
Okay? You can call the police if you want to. Let me just get out of here. Next thing I knew, he was running for me. And I was
man.
and I was not ready to fight, but he was. And I get down the road, I pull my knife out, he stops, and I'm like, get away from me, you know? And he backed off. Now, if I wasn't any faster and he got me to the ground, we could have been fighting over a knife. And listen, I didn't make that much money doing this job. I got my tow truck after he left, and I cried hysterically. And
wow,
it was, what am I doing? Like, I'm about to die over $100 for a car.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh man, I don't know if I could do this anymore. And she's like, yeah, Repo Man, like the wrestler Repo Man. Speaking of which, my dad got his autograph for me. I have that. Anyways, back when I thought it was super cool. And
but it's not worth your life. It's not worth your life, you know.
No, it's not.
And that night I talked to her, and she's like, go park the truck, never do it again. And I'm like, what am I gonna do for money? I was saving up all this money to buy her a ring, and I didn't have another backup plan. And and I just said, Lord, what do you want me to do? I can't afford the album. I can't afford my wife getting her a ring. Like, what? And so I got this job as a mortgage company. Fast forward a little bit, I was horribly in debt. I found Dave Ramsey. My wife got on that plan. Man, I'll tell you, we got completely out of debt. We really just rice and beans. We didn't go out to eat. We didn't do anything. And I saved up the money for our wedding. I got her the ring. We got married. I saved up for the album. And that's how it all transformed into that. But if I didn't get to that close to death, it may have never happened, because I might have been out there.
You know, I have this smirk on my face because I could picture you with your knife. I picture you facing this guy, and you got this little Boy Scout knife. All right, dude, you better back up, man, or I'm going to cut you.
He's got a knife.
That's not a knife. That's a knife.
The guy's probably looking at you. Oye, loco, mira, yo no tengo miedo de esa knife, you know.
And our backup plan for the
fork out
album
on a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah.
Our backup plan was to call the album, Repo Man with a Knife. So that was we were going to move on.
Nice, dude. That would have been huge, man.
We, just not as moving, but
it's funny that you guys.
Repo Man, listen, they have a Repo Man concept album or whatever, opera movie or whatever. So you know what? That was based on me, in case you didn't know that. So
yeah, there you go. No, it's funny that Gary, I think it was you that started this conversation about that, because that's one of the things I was going to ask you. With this project taking so long, did you guys ever just go, man, we shouldn't have started this, or what did we get ourselves into, or Lord, is this really you? You know what I'm saying? Because I know when projects drag out like that, you start second guessing yourself.
Yeah,
in a lot of ways, But
yeah,
if you hold steadfast, and it's really what the Lord called you to do, look, perfect example. Look what happens, But I know there had to be a lot of doubt in your mind and stuff. I mean, even to the point of me. I know my wife would say, hey, whatever happened with that record? I'm like, you know what? I don't know. And then every once in a while, maybe every 6 months or something, you'd send me a little email or something. Hey, we're working on it. It's coming. I'm like, yeah, right. Okay. It's not happening. Yeah, so, and it's not that it just took so long. I was thinking you guys were going to get disheartened and finally just say, you know what? We can't put all the puzzle pieces together. It's not going to come together. Let's just call it quits. We did some fun. We had some fun with it and be done with it, but I'm glad you did. I'm glad you guys followed through.
No, there was no way that was going to happen. I mean,
at that point, we were solid.
I believed in this thing. Once we had these songs written, and some of these demos, like when you hear a song like I Am God, I mean, that hasn't really changed in 12 years. Like from the demo, those were all demo vocals. Totally. It just, we knew that was like, it was going to be something. So, but in the back of my head, I was thinking, well, I probably could have or should have started another Shadow Gallery record and instead of working on this. And no disrespect to that, or the fans who are
Mark, in our Shadow Gallery album, you're gonna like everyone's gonna hate me. So don't say that.
well, no, they're gonna love you now. But like, if I would never say it, but if they said, "How come you didn't do the next record?" I'm like, "Well, because I worked with Guy Mark and we never finished it. And you didn't want to put it out." No, so we did put it out, and that's the important thing. It's out there now, and I think it have the writing I would have been doing, but with a different influence.
Yeah. DC, you look like you're walking around your neighborhood or something. Is that your garage or what?
That's cool.
This is part of my it's part of my shop. I had to come back out here and do a couple things because we're starting early tomorrow morning, and
I gotcha.
I got my 5 guys coming here tomorrow morning, so don't mind me. I'm wholeheartedly listening.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I'm just looking. I was like, wow, look at that. Oh, look at that.
I feel like he's walking around like 10 different houses. This garage is huge.
Well, I need more space here.
Yeah.
Here, you want to see something fun here? I just got this little doohickey.
Slot machine.
Now in my shop.
So you make your own welcome. That's what I'm guessing here.
Well, see, this is where I get some of the taxes and my insurance back on my employees. They haven't figured it out yet. No, that's a joke. That's a joke.
Yeah, sure, pal.
Now,
we believe you.
What casino did you take that out of? I know you're in Pennsylvania. There's a couple different ones,
No, this is actually a 19. It's like late 80s pachinko game machine. From Japan, but it was made in Korea, so it's kind of interesting.
Nice.
In China.
Hey, the sad part is all the money you're winning out of there, you put in there, so you ain't making nothing.
I
like putting quarters in. Oh, I want some.
It all evens out.
That can end up looking out if you're trying to get out of debt. Like you put your money in there and you can't take it out unless you win that night. It's like, all right, well, I guess we're not eating tonight.
Even in my shop, I got a picture of myself hanging up.
Hey, look at that.
It's like he gets done and he tells his wife, hey, I'm up $500. She goes, well, what did you lose? He goes, $500.
I need a slot machine. That's awesome. That is so cool.
Yeah. Hey, Gary, and she's probably like, hey, why is my quarter bank empty? My quarter jar.
Where's my money? You gonna give me my money? Where's my money, man?
I know what you're doing all day.
Yeah.
I saw your truck. I saw your truck come back to the shop like 2 hours ago.
He tells his wife. He's going to work. He's in the shop.
See your buddies coming over and like putting money into it. Like in the morning, you see them out there, like still putting money in. Like, hey, dude, can you get out of here, please? Party's over.
Said you go now.
That's hilarious,
you see,
man.
His workers all see him buy coffee in the morning paying with quarters and
yeah.
So if you guys want to see something, I know this has nothing to do with the podcast, but since we're out here,
we're just having a conversation, bro. It's all about the podcast.
This
the heck is that?
This piece of wood. This is an original beam that came out of renovation I did. I grew up in Bedford County, Pennsylvania, and this is 1758. This piece of wood, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it yet, but like in. I don't have. This isn't like really my wood shop. This is just. But that's
like George Washington's like house beam.
General Washington. Yeah.
General Washington. Correct.
Yeah. He stayed. George Washington stayed in Bedford before on their way to Valley Forge.
I mean, literally on my desk, I have a book called "Being George Washington." I'm a little bit of a fan. So.
Oh, nice.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's awesome. You ever want to go to Bedford? That's where I grew up and. It's one of the greatest, just small towns in the middle of basically nowhere, and that's how I grew up. So whenever you see all this stuff, that's how I was raised.
That's
Meanwhile, I have like 5 boxes in my garage. I'm like, I gotta get rid of these 5 boxes. Like, I'm totally crazy about like keeping. I just throw stuff out. My wife goes crazy.
Bro, I'm the same way. I got stuff, but it's all labeled. It's all everything. You could ask me where anything is in my garage, and I can tell you.
Yeah.
Where's your
I can
your
still
claw
tell
hand?
you where everything is, but I probably haven't touched some of it in 5 years or whatever. But.
Yeah.
All right.
No,
So
that's good.
yeah, I'm just moseying around here, just trying to get a couple things ready. And don't mind me.
No worries. All right, so the artwork, the logo, love it.
Yeah.
Is that you, Mark? Did you do that, or Gary, or
No, Dusan Markovic. He's an artist I found, and just on the internet, he did actually the artwork for Unleash the Archers, Jagdpanzer, Three Tremors, which had like Ripper Owens and a couple other singers. He does like a lot of really
You
cool
had to
stuff.
bring that up, huh?
What's that? Were you on that? Or are you supposed to be on that?
That's no. I can't believe you like those words just came out of your mouth.
Why?
No. Can't talk about it.
you're not going there?
Oh boy.
Gary knows something.
If you could stop the recording so I can hear what he's going to say, that'd be great because I'd be curious. But yeah.
Oh man.
But anyways,
Sorry, go ahead. Yeah.
Anyways, I don't know necessarily all those bands do. I just know he was on them. I know Jagdpanzer actually they did them the most of all of them. But anyways, I just loved his artwork, and I was like, I needed something dark. Like this is like a dark topic. Like I wanted something that was when you looked at it, I wanted him to basically. I gave him like a scrap picture of the scene. Ultimatum, which is what the song that covers based off that song.
If you wish to be freed, you will change your beliefs. You must renounce your God. With a mark on your hands, you will be born again.
And I told him exactly what I wanted, and I positioned the characters. And I'm not like a great artist, but I gave him something to work with. And then he put the rest of it together based on my descriptions, and he did a great job.
Yeah, man. Yeah, no, I love it. I get so many compliments on this shirt. I'm a t-shirt guy, right?
Yeah.
And when I put this on after I got it, what's that?
You have a shirt. You have a shirt.
No, I don't. Look. I don't.
Mark, stand up.
Come on.
Everybody shirts. Nobody tells me they want shirts.
Gary, how do we rate here? How do we rate
I'm
here?
clearly not that important.
I know. At least you should have one.
Well, y'all probably got paid for
Then
your
I'll
performance.
steal
I got
yours.
paid in a shirt.
No, you not just get
I'm
paid.
kidding. I'm kidding.
How dare you? I've paid all of you. Everyone on this call I've paid. Nobody's given me $1 out of this group, okay? So you're all my paid for friends.
Gary, let's start a GoFundMe for Mark. I'll pitch in $1. Everybody can pitch in $1, all right?
That's a great idea. Also, what was your next question?
Listen, all right. Anyone wants a shirt, I will get you a shirt today. What size DC do you wear?
I'll do an extra large.
Extra large. Matt, I almost called you my son's name. Jude Solomon, what shirt size do you need?
I need a medium, 2 largest, 3 XLs, 4 more XLs, and a couple mediums, and a couple large.
Would you like fries with that?
So large then?
Yeah, I'm not going to say.
And a couple of hats to go with it and some stickers.
I don't have hats. I need hats. You know a hat guy? I could use a hat. So.
Actually, my merch guy, Anthony Gober.
Yeah,
he does a lot of bands. He does all my band stuff. He does my podcast merch. He's got some badass mechanic shirts with the logo.
I wonder if he did. I'm on his site. I don't know if he has hats. I have to check. But
he has hats.
Then he might.
Important here. We got, this is, I know it just feels like we're hanging out, but there may be other people who want these shirts. Where can they get them?
Yeah.
Again, well, they can go to Harpazo's Bandcamp. So that would be the place to go. Harpazo's Bandcamp. That would be the best place.
Where else?
If you send me the links, if you send me the links when we're all done, I'll post them on.
I'm on Christian Anthony Gober's site. I'm on his site too. So I have mine there, and I'm also on my own thing for Bandcamp, just to sell a couple of shirts on my own.
Gotcha.
Because they're cool shirts. I mean, and not that anybody can see them other than the label of Ray's, but I mean, they're just like the album cover, right?
Yeah, I have one is the album cover, and I think I might be getting one designed. But anyways, there you go.
And it's one time in Bandcamp.
He's putting quarters in the slot machine.
I can't believe he's trying to have a podcast and he's gambling his own money to win money.
No, I was trying to say something useful and emphasizing with a. There you go.
This way you can go back in the house and say, "Honey, I earned my money today."
No, she's out of town. It's okay. She's probably watching right.
I mean, should I get like a Rubik's Cube while we're talking and start,
Yeah,
right. Well, Mark, get me a shirt.
Oh yeah, those little 8-ball, those things. Will Mark give me a shirt? No. You know what's funny about those? I used to have one. I think everybody and their mother had one. Yeah. You believed in it, right? It's like, am I gonna win $1 million? No. And it's like whenever it came up, you believed in it, man. It's so crazy.
Yeah, it was, that's some interesting stuff, that for sure.
Yeah. And sometimes you ask it questions that you knew were the answers to, and it would just get it right. I mean, it's either yes or no, right? 50-50 chance, but
my parents heard me for basically everything, so I'm surprised that was even in my house, because they were very much like, you can't have this, you can't have that, so they're pretty protective of that kind of stuff.
Hey, so you had told me, Mark, that your parents were into Warrior, right, back in the day?
Oh yeah, awesome. Warrior and Bloodgood. So when they had, like, my dad worked in New York at this club, that played Christian musicians that would come in, and he actually went to a diner with Rex Carroll, and he told him how great of a guitar player he was, and I love Rex. I don't think he ever saw you or Bloodgood live. You guys are Sacred Warrior or Bloodgood live, but I will tell you that they were big fixtures in my life growing up. He used to make little mixed tapes on his cassettes, and he'd put like a Warrior song or a Bloodgood, and he'd throw Alive in America on the VHS, and we had it on all the time because my dad had a guitar, but he'd always be like practicing and playing. So he was the first guitar player I personally knew was my dad.
Oh wow.
And, but he always had Bloodgood on, and then he introduced me to Warrior, and the first song that I remember from Warrior is Master's Command. That introduction into that, oh my gosh, that was like, what is that? Like, that is cool.
Yeah.
And, so that was my first introduction to Warrior, and then he had all your CDs though. So I had,
You mean he had all our cassettes, right?
Well, no, he had both. He had both CDs and cassettes.
There you go.
Yes, amongst Bride and all the other ones. Yeah,
cassette, the best sounding.
But I gotta go Royal Five though. That came later on because of Amazon.
Oh yeah.
Amazon used to put up like top 10. People used to write their own top 10 list albums.
Yeah,
and I was really into Dream Theater. And
me too.
Someone mentioned Shadow Gallery, and James LaBrie sang for 5 seconds, or how long was that? 2 seconds, Gary? On Tyranny. It was a very short part, right? But that was this pitch. That was the pitch for me because I was a Dream Theater fan. I'm like, let me check this band out. Oh, they sound good. James LaBrie's on it. I had no idea how long he was on the album for. I didn't know he was on like one line or whatever, but that's why I picked up the album originally.
Oh, yeah. Dude, I'll tell you guys a funny story. My son, Dylan, who is actually going to play with us at Immortal Fest, he's going to play keys and I think some percussion stuff. So in my old house, I had set up a real badass studio in there, right? And I had the glass, in the mixing room. Then I had the performance room on the other side. And he was, I think, 3 years old. And he walked in there and just started kind of messing around with the drums we had in there and stuff. And I'm like, you want to learn the drums? He's like, yeah, And so my father-in-law bought him a little drum kit where the the skins were actually like paper, and he got, I'd swear it was a week, and they were all torn because he was a hard hitter, right?
Yeah.
But it wasn't just like crazy. It was really, if you look at a lot of the kids now, you see some kids nowadays, 5 or 6 years old, that are great musicians, right? Great drummers. Well, this was him. I gave him the headphones in the studio, and I put on Sacred Warrior, right?
Okay.
And he learned at 4, 5, 6 years old, he learned all the Warrior tunes. And one day he says, I'm bored. I'm like, okay. I put on Dream Theater.
Oh,
dude, he can play Michael Portnoy like Michael Portnoy could play Michael Portnoy. Just blew my mind. So you remember Cornerstone Festival?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He was 12 years old, and I got him a gig there. Warrior had played there the year before, and he was with us, and he was like, wow, Dad, someday that'll be me. You know, the following year, he had a band. He was 12 years old, and they played Cornerstone. They killed it, man, and people freaking loved him. And now he's just turned into this great, great, great musician. Plays keys, he plays drums, he sings.
Yeah, I heard his stuff is good.
Yeah, and it's just the dude, and he loves the Lord. He's our drummer at church, you know.
Yeah,
and he loves music. You know, you pour into them at a young age, and they'll keep going. You know, but
are there any other musicians here? I don't know.
Yeah,
DC, but I think Jude Solomon might have a kid that might know a little bit about music.
Well, yeah, DC's son is killing it too with some music stuff, and yeah, my son plays a little drums and piano. He's an improviser.
Yeah.
Pretty one-sided musician and pretty incredible. He can sit down and write an opera for you and just play it, improvise it, but he doesn't know a single song anymore. Doesn't know any. He won't be able to play you any, but he doesn't need to. He'll improvise, and it's pretty advanced. Like most people can't tell two of us apart now for about 5-6 years.
Right.
Wow.
That's pretty awesome.
Well, I'll tell you, I used to go to his studio when he was just a little, like he must have been 3 or 4. I don't know how old he was. He was like, he'd be playing the piano and he wouldn't even be saying words. He would just be singing notes. And Gary would we'd be working in the middle of a song and he would just turn down the song and we would just listen to his son play. We would just take a note. And I'm like, at the time, I'm like, what are you doing? Right. But now I'm like, oh, I know what he's doing now. I'm a dad now.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
He must hear his son do his thing. And I thought that was really cool.
It's awesome, right?
The same age now as my son was then, 4 years old, 4 or 5, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, it's
I mean, guys, got any tips for getting my son into music? I mean, he loves Harpazo. I'll tell you that. So I just have to start getting.
I know he would.
He's like saying, "I am God." He keeps running around the house saying, "I'm like, I don't know if I like you saying that. Like, you're not. Like, stop."
Yeah. You need to have that conversation with Gary over there, bro. I'm just saying.
Let me comment on that. I have a hard time playing that song for people who don't know the concept. And just feeling like they think I'm being arrogant or conceited. Like, hey, I wrote, check out this new song I co-wrote and I'm singer on and play the instruments. It's called I Am God. Check it out. And I just have I got to get past that. But people who don't
hear America, everybody knows how great they are. It's not unusual nowadays. So
let me ask you something, Gary, because that's twice you've done this to me now. Can you see my monitor? Can you see my notes? Because that was my next question for you. Is once people started listening to this, what kind of feedback did you get from people and stuff? Because there's some really interesting topics in there. Like you said, I am God. When you sing that for people, they're like, oh, this guy all arrogant and stuff. So that was my next question that I was going to ask you is what are people's reactions to this record or individual songs, or are you getting any kickback from it? And how are you guys dealing with it? Or
Well, that's a good question. And to be honest, I was brought on to this, and Mark and I developed it, and I was the producer and the musician who would play the parts on it. But as a writer, I'm writing the vocal melody, so I had to sing everybody's parts, like in detail. And I Am God was never intended for me, like never. We were trying to find that character who would sing those lines. In the end, partially due to Mark's decision and mine, we just said, well, let's just use my demos for it, or I re-sang a lot of it with new lyrics. But I got a lot of feedback early on from people that I shared it with, and they said, yeah, like your vocals on this. It's great. You lead vocals on that. I was like, oh, no, I'm not the singer. This is just demos for someone else. And so many people said, why would you not be the singer on this? And I said, well, it's not what we were going for. We're going for a different voice, more aggressive. And they're like, but you're aggressive. I'm like, well, because I'm trying to convey the emotion to whoever's really going to sing it. And so for a long time, I mean, since 2010 through 2000, whatever, 6 years, like that was just a demo for somebody else that never came on board. And we just decided to not look for that person. And I'm really glad that I got to be Jude Sullivan.
Yeah, that's good, man.
Yeah, that singer never responded, but that singer had a really good reason that I originally wanted. And so he actually ended up finding the Lord and he quit music. So it worked out well,
Yeah. So, with Warrior, we've been together for, since we were kids, and we've written lots of albums and together. And I know you get a bunch of guys together, like mind. Everybody knows what they want, and sometimes you just gotta go to the knees, right? Guys, we ain't gonna practice today. We're gonna pray. Was there any ups and downs in your guys' friendship at all, or was it always just peaches? It always was just great. It sounds good. It was always just there.
Great, 100% great. Mark and I, we didn't butt heads for once on anything. I mean, we would discuss. We've been so excited about this for years, and our phone conversations would be epically long.
Oh,
and
yes.
It wasn't like a sort of thank yous and you're great and wow, look what we did, so much as let's just continue to make this the best thing we can. And it's really hard to judge your own album when you work on it for this long, and you're so committed to saying, like, I've never mixed an album this long. I didn't mix this in 2 days, 2 weeks, and I spent a year mixing this thing.
Yeah,
and
man.
I'm so glad. The whole time, like I said earlier, I just stop until I get every detail right. And some people are going to like it, and we've gotten good responses. I had one person tell me, "Oh gosh, it's smeared in reverb, and it's unlistenable." And I'm like, "Okay, that's valid. You can say it's unlistenable, but you know what? I'm by this product that Mark and I have, and DC and everybody. I feel good about it." And I played it yesterday, the whole album, twice. And how many times I've heard this thing? You have no idea. Thousands and thousands, probably 5,000 times. And I went on a walk and played the whole album. And I got done, and because I haven't heard it in about a month, so it's fresh to me. And I got done, and I'm like, I want to play it again. I played the whole thing again, and I don't care if that sounds arrogant. I'm allowed to love this, and I do.
Yes.
And right now it's my favorite album. And if somebody asks me, what's your Desert Island album? This is it for me right now.
Yeah. And you know what? You got to believe in yourself. You got to love what you're doing. So in my podcast, I like throwing in these little bloopers and these little video clips and stuff in between. And so far, everyone has loved it, but one person. Just like you're saying. One guy said, I love, you never know, right? But here's what he said. He said, I love the podcast, but I don't like the host, which is me, right? Because he says, because he puts in too many clips and this and that, and is very distracting. And my reaction to him was, my podcast is not for everyone. It's for people who are going to enjoy it. If you don't, I'm not forcing you to look at it. If you don't like it, I'm good with that, man. I'm good with you not watching my podcast, but everybody else is like, dude, I love the little clips. I love this. I love that. And sometimes they're a little green, if you know what I mean, a little sour, and sometimes they're just great. But when I decided to do this, and this is why I asked you this question, I said, I'm going to do this because this is what I want to do. This is the direction I want to go in. And I'm going to do it because this is the leading that I'm feeling. You know, and that's why I asked about the record. You know, you got that same thing. You're like, you know what you want, you know what you're going to do, and nothing else matters. You know, you're going to get your naysayers, but you know what? Everyone that I've talked to loves this record.
Yeah,
loves
I would
this.
say, that's great to hear, because I'm in my own little world here in Augusta, Georgia, and the only feedback I really hear is online or whatever. I don't ever get a chance to talk to anybody about it. And for me, I'm having to learn to have thick skin. You guys have been doing it for years. I have not. So I was a quiet person on the internet on Facebook, okay, with my kids. Now I got people saying Mark's not a Christian, or I have people, Christians saying it, and then I have atheists saying it, and then I got people going, well, he doesn't leave room in any of my viewpoints for these other things. I'm like, well, it's my freaking story, okay? You write your own then. Like, what do you want me to do?
Yeah.
I can't be all things to all people.
That's
I'm too direct, and I'm like, okay, thanks. Nothing I can do about it now. Like, so it's hard. It's really, and Gary warned me. And I think that was like the one thing I'm like, for every great review, if I get one that I was hoping was going to be great and it wasn't, I'm like, oh. So Mark Boardman, he did the last review from Sonic Perspectives, and he did such a great job. He really paid attention to all the details, and he did a good job of just, again, going through it. And I really appreciate when reviewers do that, when they really listen to the album more than one time, or understand what we're talking about, than commenting on things they clearly did not read the story or understand on. So there's a lot of misinformation, I think, that can happen when you listen to the album, especially like I Am God, perfect example. Some people are like, well, on the YouTube are like, oh, how this isn't a Christian song. I'm like, well, no, SHIT, okay? Like, this is the Antichrist talking here. He's not going to talk about how great Jesus is on this song, okay? Like, that's happening, So,
and you know what's funny? I think you hit it right on the nose. It's all these people that have not dove into it that are forming this opinion of, oh, well, wait, how about this? How about read it? Read the Bible. Read into it. Read the lyrics. Really look at, exactly. And and you get, what happens is people, they get lazy, and people get judgmental. The music sounds great, but the message is, you know what? The heck with that. You keep doing what you're doing, and you know what God put in you for this record. Yeah. And you just keep doing it. And like Gary said, you're going to get the naysayers. And I'll tell you this, the more people who listen to this, be ready, because you're going to get more naysayers. It's going to happen. It happens. It happens.
It's true. I hope people keep talking about it. But, again, most of the feedback has been really great. And I feel like every other day I'm putting a review up of somebody praising the album on the Harpazo Facebook page. Yeah. And the group has grown from, I've watched it, we're almost at 1,000 followers. So it's slowly growing. It's getting out there, and it's got a lot of time. And, one thing that I hope is, especially looking up to both of you guys and your music, is people are listening to this 20, 25 years from now, 30 years from now, like Tyranny and Carved in Stone. And, obviously you got all these great albums by Sacred Warrior, and those are albums I still spin, and if somebody still spun this album 25 years ago, I'd be incredibly honored. And that's, I know me and Gary have been listening to it for 13, 14, 15 years now. So we love it, so we just hope that so many other people do the same, we hope.
Yeah. And, the thing is, like, just getting back to, like, you got to take the positive and the negative and everything together. And I remember having that conversation with you on the phone, like going, people are going to love this, Mark, trust me, but some people are going to hate it. Some people are going to not understand it. Some people are only going to listen to half of it and make a judgment. In today's day and age, people don't have the time to invest 70 minutes seriously over and over again into one product. So we're dealing with a culture and a society that is totally groomed on instant gratification, and we did not write an album that rewards that instant gratification. We wrote an album that's going to praise the person who puts the time, invests into the album, into themselves, into the lyrics, into the emotion that's really deeply embedded into this. There's so many details lyrically and musically that no one's going to get this until they get to about 15 listens. And my brother, who does that for me, he's on listen number 55 or something now, and he would text me oh, listen 15, now I'm really getting it. Now I'm getting this. But here's the thing. You can't tell people to listen to it over and over, and we can't expect anybody to give it more than 10 seconds. But this is art, and all art is a risk. It's all a challenge to the person putting it out. And it just takes the courage to say, we put out an album that is not just a commercial, hey, baby, with a 2-minute song. We put out what we thought was best. And I'm always going to stand by that choice. And I could have a bigger house and more money when I die, but I'm not that interested in that. I'm interested in making the greatest product we can with the talent we have. And, so if those who don't like it, or those who don't like even what we're saying right now, hey, I respect that. That's fine. But for those who do give it the time, boy, I'm so grateful, because hopefully you get more out of it than a $10 record. You get something that lasts, like you said, for a quarter of a century. And 24 you can play it and go, wow, I still feel it.
Yeah. I on my YouTube channel, you know what analytics is, obviously. You can go on there and you can see how long people are watching each episode, what age group it is, what their click-through rate is, and everything. And I have my hardcore followers who will watch from front to cover. You know what I'm saying? Front to back, they'll watch the whole thing. Then you have those that'll, click through, and then you have those that'll watch. I think my average watch time on my podcast is about 40 minutes.
Wow.
Mine are, yeah, dude. And they average, most of them are about an hour and 15 minutes, hour and 20 minutes. But you think 40 minutes is good, but it's not, because you miss so much of it. The last 20 minutes, you kind of wrapping things up. But that's why I try to just do things that kind of cover things as we go, instead of systematically, because it's kind of, becomes boring to me. So how'd you start? And you know what I'm saying? So you got to jump around. But if you look at the analytics on any of the stuff that's on YouTube, it'll tell you the age group, how long they're watching, click-through rate and all that. And sometimes you look at that and you're like, wow, that's pretty cool. Sometimes you look at that and you're like, they missed all the good stuff, So, yeah.
Good point. You look at that and you're wondering, and about the country, like, I don't know if Gary, I can see some of on Spotify, like Brazil loves us. Like, it's really funny, like how many people in Brazil will listen to the album just on some streaming platforms. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you know way more, but I'm surprised by it, because I didn't expect people of these different countries to be so into it. Like, whoa, and the US is still first, but it was the music is around the world. And I don't think I comprehended that when I released it. Like, oh, by the way, the whole world's going to hear this, from Japan to everywhere. I'm like, what? It took me by surprise,
Yeah.
So it was, especially when we got Rock Shot's record label got involved, and they've done a pretty good job getting distribution out. North America keeps selling out like crazy. We don't have any copies here in America that I'm aware of. The North American distributor needs to get more in, because people keep asking me. So
that's great.
More in. Yeah, it's.
Hey, so if somebody was to come up to you and say, "Hey, let's put on this big production like TSO," would you guys do it or no?
I would.
That would be pretty sick.
I've been entertaining it in my head already. I'm already trying to pick out musicians.
Already there.
Yeah, man.
But we had to start to see what the response is, and it's still soon. It's been 5 weeks, even less than that, being that most people, we keep, like Mark said, it keeps selling out. So some people are just getting their copies for the first time. Like, I'm getting tons of texts and emails in the last week. Just got it. So, to me, it's really, for many people, it's been out a week or two. So it is worthy of a show, but. I only think big, so it's hard for me to consider something like this and just do a little show and have any old singer and just anybody. It's got to be a theatrical, piece, and that's easy to do when you've been building it up. And my friend Arian from Arion, he's so good at doing this. And I remember talking to him when he was before he did his first show, because when I met him, he didn't play for a long time, and even 10 years into our friendship, he was like, "Yeah, I'm 40. I'm too old to play. I'm not going to do it now." And and now you think about all he's done, and that's
that, Gary. I had no idea.
So much time, and it's inspiring, because we were both in that same place, and I didn't tour for a while either, and we both thought, well, we want to, but that's okay, we will. But he's really gone on to do some very impressive stuff, and so if it could be done, it could be done. So yeah, I would say it's hard to say, but I could see this growing into a big show. And
yeah, me too.
You know, the one thing that's cool, Gary, is everybody, Michael, Drive, Ray, Les, they all go to that Immortal Festival, right? They all are there already. So that would be hard to do a whole show there. But I'm just saying, it's cool that there are places. I don't know. Hopefully that continues. I heard someone saying it might not, but or venue change or something. But you know, these guys are all pretty. You guys all talk to each other. You all know each other. So
correct. Yeah.
You guys all seem interested in doing it, but obviously there's a lot more that goes into this. And I was talking to this. He does this musical that travels around the U.S. called The Thorn, and it's like a really, really amazing show about Jesus. And they do like a huge show, and they go to Atlanta, they sell arenas. And I just emailed him on a chance, like, how did you do this? How did it get here? And he gave me some really good ideas that I'm now talking to my wife about. But that just happened last week. And he's like, he knows investors, and he's like, you know, so I don't know, but that's a hope of mine that maybe he'll give me some ideas in a place. Maybe speaking of the lead singer,
I've been here.
So he would need to know that. But doing this show live.
Oh, there it is again.
But
I'll talk to you about that, Mark, because I got some ideas on how it could be done too. We'll talk about it. Maybe
we'll talk about it. But I mean, obviously, let's get the album out there first. Let's see what people think. Reviews are good. You know, we'll just continue to build upon that, and we'll see how it ends up. But but that's obviously a dream of mine too. Every time I listen to the album, I can imagine DC Cooper up there with the gun in his hand, like you. You're trying to kill Gary, of course. So DC Cooper.
Oh my God! They're going to kill me. I'm the bad guy. Damn it!
Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
Well, that's a song.
Oh wait. So yeah. So Mark, you have to like kind of settle a couple bets that Gary and I have going on now. Who is that's Michael. That's
Michael,
we both are the bad guys early on.
Bad guys, correct? Yeah.
But you have a change of heart, and I'm ruthless. I'm the guy who says no. You know what? After all the meteors fall and everything, like.
Well, I don't know. Is your story over? Does Jude Solomon's story over? I mean, is the album finished?
Well,
who knows?
Here's the big thing. You guys were like I'm actually trying to make mind notes because I was here the whole time. I'm not sure why my camera wasn't on, but you had made the comment about, you know, did you guys get along during the recordings and stuff like that? And, you know, everybody has hopes. Right now, I'd said it before, and I know Gary, Mark, and just about anybody that would be involved, like, for this to go live, to really get a
production,
a visual. I mean, because people, like, you know, people are like, they're so scattered. They have so many things going on in their world that to sit down and listen to something like this, that's why I thought right away that, you know, this needs to go live. And whenever I say this needs to go live. If this is going to be a true message to get across to people, because I'm wondering, I'm hoping, I'm praying myself, but to really get the point across is to take this live. And it can happen, but, you know, there's a lot of work to be done, but there's a lot of God's will that's going to take this over. Because I think for all of us, that we're kind of in agreement on that, you know, and we've been talking about it for a while, but, you know, you had said about, well, did you guys get along on this one? And I had made a joke, but I didn't know I was muted because it was a pretty good one, where I was like, yeah, well, ask in 3 albums or 3 show changes. I mean, yeah, because this story can cycle through. There was no ending to this story that I could tell. Okay, so that, I don't know, did I get that point across pretty good?
I think so.
Because I'm trying to like remember everything that I wanted to kind of say about this is, you know, and I know I was like I was just joking whenever I say something like, "Oh, is that me on the cover with the gun?" You know. But if that's me to help send the message, I am going. I want to be there. God's been calling me, and I'd started to say a little bit earlier.
Yeah.
There's something else in my life that I have yet to do, and I know I talked to Gary about this before, but I might. There's something else that I'm supposed to do, and I'm not sure what it is. My stepmom, who passed away 2 years ago, and then my dad passed away a year ago. A year ago, they both kept saying, "Let go, let God." That is the 4 words. Let go, let God. It's been really striking me for quite a while. There was, some personal issues that just really took place over the past 4 years, basically.
Yeah.
Everybody went through everything from COVID, so there's got to be something more. And I looked at my wife whenever I was listening to this, and I was out of my shop, and she's like, "Are you okay?" And I had tears rolling down my face. And I'm like, there's something else that God wants me to do. I don't know what that is. Maybe that's helping this. Maybe that's doing, I don't know. So that's my message. I just wanted to kind of close with that and say a couple of things about it, because I do feel strong. I don't know if I'm going to be a changed man because of it, but I know there's a
DC. So let me tap into that a little bit. I don't know where your walk is with the Lord. I don't know if you've ever accepted the Lord, but there's a starting point to fulfilling whatever this is you're feeling, that you're saying there's something else, that God got something else for you. Have you ever accepted God into your life as your Lord and Savior? Have you ever said the prayer and said, "Lord, I surrender, man. Here I am"? Have you started with that or no?
All right, you're laying it all out right now, brother.
Yeah, bro. I mean, because I'm feeling what you're saying, man.
No.
Yeah, I'm feeling what you're saying.
I'm talking honesty. No.
Yeah, bro.
No.
Yeah, because you know what?
I've been rejected by churches that I even like. One church in particular, and that was a big turning point for me. Where nobody in my community, even like I'm an unknown in the United States, and that's fine with me. That's great, because I can go to church, I can go to the store, I go to Home Depot, I do this, I do, and that's cool.
Sure.
But whenever so there was a church in particular that I just was in a really, really, really dark, black time. And I would go to church by myself, and I would sit way, way, way back in the corner, And, after a couple of weeks, then people started, just come on up here, just come on up here. And these are people from my community that have no idea how I'm hurting, but I'm watching how they're hurting, but they're also surviving, and they're also praising. So I was moved, and then a couple of people had said a couple of things. And then, so the minister and his wife, who was the director of the music program, it was pretty cool. It was a smaller church, but it was a beautiful church. And, and they had a good sound system. They had a good drummer and stuff. I'm going like, yeah, I could go up there and sing. And thank you, Clark. His name's Clark Griswold. just to tell you how, hey, thanks for hold on one second.
You sure that's not you making those noises?
Yeah. You want me to get him howling? I can have him singing in key.
Oh, man.
Okay, so where was I? Because I was on a roll here just to share this.
You're going up to sing.
Say that again. Yes.
You were going up to sing, I think, or?
Well, we were kind of planning it, because I'm used to shows. I'm used to, production. Yeah. And I had been to a couple other churches. There was one that was absolutely huge, like 4,000 people, like a massive stage production. I had numerous people saying, you need to sing for the Lord. And that was what my dad used to tell me. That was what my stepmother used to tell me. And it's different to try to throw down, because there's one song called "Please Forgive Me," and I did a version of it live in Hamburg, Germany, of all places, and I have it on video. and yeah, we worked on this show to, like, you know, for me to do it. I was afraid I wasn't going to be able to get through that song, and I wouldn't have been able to. But I never got there because the week before we were going to do, like, I was going to do like 5 songs, and you know, I was even like playing it in my head as a performer, as a showman. But there was a message that I wanted to try to get across. And the weekend before, the pastor came up to me and he put his arm on my shoulder and he said, he shook my hand. He's like, "I don't think it's going to work out next week." And I'm like, "Wow, wow, wow, wow!" Like, why is that? And because I was really looking forward to it, to maybe even testify, like, because I've never testified in my life,
Mm-hmm.
other than court.
Numerous times.
Worst time to take a drink.
And that's another story.
Oh my Lanta.
Yeah. So yeah, and I was like ready to do it, and he shook my hand. He's like, "Now this isn't going to work out." He says, "I thought you were born again," and I'm like, "Nah." And I said, "No, I'm not." I said, "But I have him in my heart." And he looked at me and says, "Wow, you know, you can't, you know, we're not going to have you on stage to sing because you're not born again." And I was so devastated. Absolutely broke my heart. My heart. So,
you know,
so this is the first thing since that happened, probably like 7 years ago, that I've actually started to, you know, just absolutely feel, you know. Sorry about that. That was a long one, but thank you for listening.
All right, man.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening.
Man. Listen,
This album was for you. This album was for you. This album was for you. It was for everybody. It wasn't for me. That's not why I made it. I wanted to make it for you. I wanted to make it for anyone who could take something out of it. So
yeah.
Well, I mean, I through my career, like out of these 49 albums that I've either written, worked on, produced, sang, edited, you name it, or whatever. You know, I don't think I've ever blasphemed religion, God, Jesus. And I really don't think so. And if there's proof of it out there, it probably might be on Green Mantle Sheet. I did a remake and sang with with Judas Priest. Yeah.
Listen, let me tell you something there, DC. Even if you did, that's in the past, right?
Sure.
I think you being part of this, like Mark said, you know, this record, Harpazo, it's doing the band, you know, the record, it's doing what it was intended to do. It's reaching hearts, you know, and you've played a huge part in this, and it's obviously tugging at your heart. You know what I'm saying? To say to someone, "Hey, have you accepted Jesus as your Lord and Savior?" That doesn't mean you say the prayer now and you change your life tomorrow, because God works through us. And ain't nobody, not Gary, not Mark, myself, none of us are perfect in any way. But the difference is when you make that commitment to live for Jesus, when you surrender to Him, that's the sign of surrender is the hands up, right? That's why we do that in church. When you surrender to Him,
I've been envious for years.
Yeah, well, listen, you can do it. And when you do it, when you surrender to God, He says, "Come to me as you are." He didn't say, "Stop doing this, stop doing that, stop." You know, He says, "Come as you are. I will change you. I will direct your life." You know, so I just say that to say, I don't want to get all preachy on you, DC, but I just say that to say this, because this, in my opinion, this is a good opportunity. If you're feeling God tugging at your heart and you want to say, "Lord, here I am, use me," whether you change today or not, God will change you, but you got to make the first steps in accepting Him as your Savior.
Well, that's,
you know?
but for years I've sang quite a few songs. Like, I am the Gaithers family, the Gaithers brothers are like my ultimate favorites.
Nice.
I was raised like singing harmonies in my dad's, you know, 72 Ford F100 pickup truck, just singing harmonies with my dad, and listen to Statler Brothers, just all that kind of stuff. And that's where like my harmonies were grown. And just kind of like a true, just a true understanding of melody.
Mhm.
I think I got that from my dad. Just literally, God bless him, he's gone. But
like DC, because this is the first time I've actually talked to you. Talk to you. I remember Gary mentioned to you that my mother was a really big part of why I wrote this album and why I continued to do it. And that binder I talked about in the beginning when I came to Gary, the first person who saw the binder was my mother, and she she sat there and she must have, I don't know what she thought of me at the time. I know she really encouraged me every part of my life. And she wrote in this book that I never left my side. I came to her idea and she gave me this book and she just pulled this out. It's called Dispensational Truth. It's by Clarence Larkin. And she opened it up and she wrote to me, this is right before she died. She wrote, "To my blessed son, Mark, may God watch over and bless you in all the work of your hands." And my hands, right? Like my hands, what do my hands do? What am I doing in my life? And I never, that line to me, and when she died, and I tell you that's that night she died, thousands of blackbirds landed. There was the biggest thunderstorm you ever seen, and she all died with my entire family holding her, praying over her, and God was there. I can't unsee. It was the most incredible day of my life. And she said to me, how much do you need to finish the album? That was like one of the last things she could barely talk. She was chewing on ice cubes. She couldn't drink. And I told her how much I needed, and I didn't have it. And she never said another word. And I spent 10 years thinking about how am I going to come, my mother, I thought she was going to give me some money when she died or something. I had like this idea in my head that someone else was going to solve my problems for me, And I went back to this and like, my hands can do this.
Yeah.
Can do this. And she can give me and that's why I never stopped. That's why me and Gary never stopped working together on it, is because behind all of this, behind you being here as my mother, in some way or form, she's the reason why this thing is still here and why we're even talking about this stuff. And thank you for working on it. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Hey, Mark,
Yes.
I never brought this up in an interview because that's a very personal story you've told, and I've never wanted to be the one who told it or mentioned it. So I'm glad you brought it up. But
yeah,
that's been in the back of my head for so many years because I know that story and how long ago that was. And to me, I feel like God asked me to make sure I made sure this album came out, and that's always been a thing. I've been doing this unspoken till this moment, but I've been doing this for your mom as much as myself and you and everybody else. Like that's always been like, I'm not going to give up on this no matter what it takes. And, so since you talked about it, your story, your personal story.
Yeah, no, I know you. I know you. It's funny how my mom brought us all together. Here, go play with your friends. Dude, have fun making an album.
Yeah, man.
She's rocking this in heaven, man. She's headbanging. She was into heavy metal. She loved Priest. She's a huge Priest fan. I'm sure, Blood, all those things. That she could not be happier, more proud. So I know that.
That's awesome, man. Yeah. That's awesome. Oh, did we lose DC again?
He might. Yeah,
we did.
I think he's hitting the slot machine.
Yeah. Hey, so
we're talking about all these coincidences. You might as well hit the slot machine. You might get something tonight. So
yeah.
The numbers.
I love when God does stuff like that. DC seems like a real genuine guy, and God's tugging at his heart, man. You guys keep reaching out to him, and I'm sure all our viewers who are going to watch this, I'm not going to edit that out because I thought that was a God moment.
Yeah.
And I'm really proud of you guys, man, sticking through this and just watching what God is doing through it and what God's going to continue to do through it. And I'm actually honored that it was on my show that you guys talked about your mom, bro, and how she brought this out in you, and Gary confessed to you. He never told you this or never told anyone else that he was doing this for her as well, Yeah. And that's the special kind of connection that I like to have on this podcast. Because just like with your record, this thing ain't for me, man. It's for the Lord, for him to use it however he wants. And it seems like God has made a way for people to open up on my show more than they do in other places. I've seen a couple of interviews that you guys have done, and I've never seen anything like this, with you guys. And like I had told you, Mark, I like to have fun, but when the rubber meets the road, man, when it's time, we're gonna talk about Jesus.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. And Gary, I appreciate you, man, and it's. I'm just honored, man. I'm excited about the whole thing, So I did want to ask you guys one last thing is, you guys thinking of writing another album? I was going to kind of make a joke out of this and say, if you do write another record, you plan on releasing it like in 2034, maybe, or
one eternity later.
Another 10 years from now or whatever
comes out, right?
Yeah. No, but guys, I'm excited, man, about this whole thing. Hey, listen, Mark, what you need to get the guys some shirts, bro.
I apparently
I'll go on Bandcamp.
I realized I had no idea. I did ask everyone they want shirts, and I thought I hit everybody, but apparently not. So
yeah, your writing partner does not get a shirt. Bro, give me your address. I'll send you mine. It's a small.
No, you wear it too well, Ray. It looks too good on you.
It looks real good. Yeah. I don't
man.
The silver. I don't even have. This is my wife's shirt. Just to point it out, I only bought myself one shirt. I bought shirts for everybody else, right? And so far, the entirety of the merchandise, I've bought more shirts than anybody else.
He's back.
Like almost like
my phone keeps dying. It's been a long day.
That's all right, brother.
So yeah, shirts it is. Yes, I will do that.
Yeah, get the guys some shirts and look at that hair, bro. I used to have hair longer than that, but used to be's don't count anymore.
Hey, Ray, real quick question for you. What did you?
Yeah,
I know we're wrapping this up here. So, final question for you, or even if it's one of the first.
The interview.
What did you think about singing on Two Witnesses? I mean, you're hosting this program, but you're a singer on this, and you sound amazing to me. Love what you did,
dude.
You had this duet with a person that you weren't even in the same room or part of the country with. But it works so well, and I'm so pleased as a producer, and you turned into me. But what were your thoughts on that?
Oh, I loved it, man. I loved it. Just from when I heard it, when you sent me the tracks, I was like, my God.
I was worried. It was a long song. Is you can listen to 8-minute long song and like.
Oh, bro, listen.
I wasn't worried.
You don't know me too well. I listen to stuff, like I said, when I listen to something, I go cover to cover. I say that because like a book, start to finish. I'm not a listen to one song kind of guy. I buy a record or a CD. I listen to the whole thing. And I get in this bad habit, like I'm doing now with the Harpazo record. I put it in, I like it, and I play it a lot. Unfortunately, right now,
over and 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 over again. Yeah,
exactly. Unfortunately, though, right now I'm preparing for 2 shows we got coming up.
I love whenever you find a song or an album that you just burn out completely,
bro.
That's the way. That's a good sign.
Yeah, Dream Theater does that to me, man, or used to. I just throw out all the
used to.
Yeah.
Not that their stuff is bad. It's all good. It's all good stuff. They it's good songs.
Yeah. That and Camelot with Roy on it. Oh my gosh, man.
Yeah, I agree.
Huge Camelot.
But you got a heck of a range. And like when I was I remember singing that going like I just heard it as a high part with both the female and the male. And I was saying to Mark, like, we got to have somebody who's going to deliver this because like it's got to be high and powerful and really aggressive and strong. And it was one of the higher parts I remember demoing and going, okay, but that's where we needed to be. You're not going to make an exclamation. You don't make an exclamation by going and your ways. There's a time for being cute and there's a time for making a point.
Yeah, you got to really.
That 3 days you rock.
No. It's got to be belted. So you really.
I'll tell you, Gary. I'll tell you something funny about me. Even when I'm tracking my vocals, I'm a power hitter when I sing. So even live, when we're doing live, my earbuds, I mainly hear the band. I don't hear my in-ears. I don't hear much of me at all because I need to have my voice down enough in my in-ears that I can push it to get the tones that I need. Because if I'm too loud in my mix, I can't do it. I need to be where I need to really push it, because that's the kind of vocalist that I am. And for me, it just works that way for me. And then the guys in the band, they like me really loud in their in-ears and stuff, and that's fine. But I remember the old days of wedges, floor wedges. He wanted me really loud. And I'm like, don't even put me in my wedges, because I can hear me over there. You know what I'm saying? So I just, but that's what I do. That's how I do it. I need to be really low in the mix in order to push out what I need to,
That's really interesting. And I think UTC and I have that in common, that we're that pushy, higher range, like ready to shatter glass kind of singers. And
man.
That's what I like about this album, is we have that balance of the aggressive, powerful voices like yourself and DC, and the sweetness of Jen and Leanne, and so it's a nice
man. Yeah, great collaboration on everyone's part, man. I really love that.
Two Witnesses is one. Everyone seems to be really loud. I see people just individually post that song. And I mean, we got all guys on it. We got DC, we got Gary, we got you, we got Jen Eckhart, who's a pastor at a church here in Pennsylvania, and then you got a little bit of everybody. That's like a full cast on that album.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that's
song.
Much,
Yeah,
that'd
for
be a
sure,
good one live.
Oh yeah, right. Let's do it.
Moses can play more than one part. Like, in other words, Ray, if we do this live, you could you can change costumes and be out there for many songs.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, you got to get small though. Remember that, small costumes. Yeah. But listen, guys, man, I really enjoy this, man. Thanks for coming on here. I said, I've been looking to do this for a while. Mark, you and I have been talking about it for a while.
Yeah.
And I know you said Gary was slacking, or whatever you said, but no, I'm kidding, Gary. Gary.
You're a slacker.
I know. I was so excited to talk to you, and then when I asked DC and he was on board, I was like, well, this is great. We got a core group of the record here, and so it's the only interview I know of that's the four of us.
Yeah.
So
and DC, my man, the legend. Love your voice, bro.
No, thank you, man. You did a great job on the album. Absolutely.
Thanks, brother. Yeah, one song.
Yeah.
But hey.
Well, hey, there could be part 2, part 3.
Yeah.
You never know. There could be more to the story. I've thought about that. So I'm like, well, I could. Although pretty sure Ray's character is gone. He's not gone. He's up in the sky. So I don't know if he'll come back down again. But hey, you never know. So.
Yeah.
But that's Moses. That's not Ray. Ray's still here, and Ray can sing anything.
That's right.
Moses
I can transform. I can be someone else, right?
That's true. You can just you can definitely.
Technically, is Jude even around? Michael's not around.
Jude's the only one who's actually. Then and Rolina are the only two who are theoretically, from what I didn't really say for sure, but those are only two who are really there.
Yeah.
So
obviously Rolina's around.
Huh?
Yeah.
Michael's gone.
Yeah. Who knows? He might be.
You killed him off? No, wait. No. In Gary's mind, did he kill me off already?
I didn't kill you.
Man, Gary, you're getting a bad rap, bro.
Well, people have been asking me questions because after that Small Price to Pay song, DC, Michael's character is on that Change Your Heart Part 2 song. So originally it was funny. I was I'm sorry, I know you want to wrap this up. Apologies, but now I'm going to
No, it's okay.
I was kind of checking out Jesus Christ Superstar a lot. And I love how Judas came back, even though when he was supposed to be gone.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of where the inspiration, let's just hear him one more time. Let's bring him back. I don't know if could he still be he could be but I felt like even though his story kind of felt complete, there was still more to be told. So maybe it's not. I don't know.
Yeah. You never
know.
And Change of Heart Part 2 is as important as a song as Part 1, because, like, I mean, now he's back to help Relina find her change of heart. Like, the story is so fantastic to me. Like, I've known it all along, but now I get to experience it as a listener instead of somebody working on it.
It's
and I
different,
love that. Change of Heart Part 1 is about DC Cooper. Mike, Change of Heart Part 2 is about Relina. And they each have their own change of heart. That's how I see it.
Yeah. No, that's great, man.
And if I'm wrong, don't correct me.
Do you see any last words, brother?
Any last words? No, I mean, I think I gave a lot of it out. I mean, it's just great to be able to chat with you, Mark, and Gary, and and kind of hash some of this stuff out, because it's almost like a Bible study where you're gonna where you're like, you have to pick there's still stuff I have to learn about, my character, but I try to do my best to get it across. And
great. I love it.
Let's put it this way. I was convinced when I heard your voice.
I have no regrets in anybody I chose. I love everybody. It's so good. I love it. I can feel it. I hear it. It doesn't feel like someone just saying the words. It feels like that's the Michael character, and that's And Gary, he produced all the vocalists, for the most part, other than like Ray and Les. But like, having DC in the studio with Gary to do it all, I think you guys work together so well. Like,
and I was injured, and he didn't care.
My job was to get
Gary, everybody's painting this picture of you as this monster, bro.
No.
Oh, look at that. And he just turned himself off.
He logged out.
He's like, I'm not going to take this abuse.
He turns on the temperature in the booth.
Well, maybe I really upset him. No, he did drive me to CVS to get gauze and everything like that, because I had neck surgery about 4 days before I came out to his studio.
I did not know that.
And you were singing with neck surgery?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
And about I don't know, day 4 or something, I realized that I had popped my stitches, and it was okay. Yeah. So
you're injured.
The shirt that I was wearing, I didn't realize it until I'm like, there's something down going. I'm like, am I sweating that bad? And I go like this, and I popped my stitches.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. He never told you that. Okay.
I never heard that part of the story.
I asked him about it.
I think he went to urgent care. I think he might have mentioned that, but again, I wasn't there. I was in Georgia, so I only get what people tell me. Whatever.
I had bloody gauze and everything in the trash can in the studio.
Dude,
it's okay. It's okay.
Man. That's epic. You're in there singing bloody, dude. That paints a whole new picture for the album for me.
Right? No doubt.
I think Gary did drive me to CVS to get more. I don't know. I might have used maxi pads, or I can't remember what it was because I was
extra absorbent there.
Bleeding pretty good. So and then whenever I got back after I finished, I can remember, it's funny he's not on here right now, but I was literally singing or editing or in with him until I was in his garage going, dude, I'm going now. I have to drive and go. Bye. See you, Gary. He's like, okay. And then I drove back to Pittsburgh, and the next morning went to the hospital.
Oh my gosh. That's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
That's
true story. I don't think we'll have to see what Gary remembers of it, because it was, but yeah.
Anyway. You are strong like bull.
Strong like bull. Actually, I was sleeping and
Oh man. Listen, guys, hang in there for a second. I'm just going to end this really quick, and we'll chat for another second. But guys, thanks for hanging with us, man. I know we had a great time, and I'll be sharing all these guys as their links and their websites and everything. And I want to thank Mark, DC, and Gary for being on the show. Appreciate you guys, and just hang in there for just a minute. All right.
Okay.
Later. Wow, y'all made it.
You're wearing the Harpazo shirt?
Dude, I wore
that's awesome.
Oh, sorry.
I don't have a Harpazo shirt, Mark. Why is that?
What's up with that, Mark?
Did you buy it?
You know, that's wrong on so many levels. That's kind of like old people making out in an elevator, wrong on so many levels.
Gary just said his computer something happened. He said say goodbye for me, something.
No worries, man.
Yeah.
He had to pee.